Good afternoon. My name is Gretchen Hanchett. I'm Vice Chair of the Planning and Economic Development Board. I'd like to call the meeting to order. Roll call, please.
Mrs. Root, Mrs. Hanchett,
Here.
Mr. Barnes,
Present.
Mr. Curran,
Here.
Mr. Havey,
Here.
Mr. Ricky,
Here.
Mrs. Ricketts-Wales.
Here.
And Mr. Harris. 6 present, 1 absent.
Thank you. Next is the approval of the minutes for December 21st, 2022. Can I have a motion to approve the minutes?
Havey will move that.
Curran, second.
Thank you. Any opposed? Any questions? All in favor?
Aye.
Thank you. They're moved. Okay, next on our list is Rita Sobek Lynch, Employment and Training. Welcome.
Good afternoon. I think you've all had a chance to read my monthly report. And we're starting to get ready for the Summer Youth Employment Program, so we're going through all of the paperwork that we have to review and send off to the county attorney's office for approval. Pretty much everything has been quiet other than that. We have hired a new employment and training counselor. Her name is Nikki Blau, and she started last Monday and has been an excellent fit in the office. We're very excited to turn the individualized trainings and the Trade Act information over to her.
Right.
Last week I was in Runnings. Part of what we do are providing supportive services. So one of the customers that we were working with got a job there and needed new boots. So we got new boots and I took them over. That store is just huge. I forgot how much stuff was in it when it was Kmart. And so they have, I think, 15 people working there now, and they're putting up shelving, and very excited to have stock come in and then open up soon. So that was a very nice experience. And I had talked to the HR director there, and he was just thrilled with the job fair that they had here. And his comment was that it was one of the best we've had in the Northeast.
Awesome.
The quality and the quantity of the candidates was very impressive to them. So kudos to Allegheny County.
Very good. Thank you. I'm anxious for it to open.
Yes. And on the veterans front, there's a new veterans benefits and services poster that all employers have to put up in their places of employment beginning on January 1. So it talks about all the different services, legal services, mental health, substance abuse, tax benefits, education, workforce training, and other resources. So if anybody would like a copy, I do have it here.
Thank you. Does anybody have any questions for Rita? Thank you for all the work you've done. It's been a busy year to get people in, and I see employment and services really growing and pulling more in, or maybe I'm just more aware of it now.
Maybe.
So, but thank you.
All right, thank you all very much.
Okay, next on our list is Keir Derlin, Planning Director, and he's going to give his monthly report and a few things we need to go over.
Afternoon, everybody. This place is kind of empty today. You guys sent everybody packing. But most of our committee's here, and that's great. Just a few things on the report. The planning board meets tonight, and tonight is the annual meeting, which typically is about 5 minutes at the max. There's no referrals. I'm sure they'll find some other things to chat about. We've deferred the annual dinner that we used to do to later in the year. After conversation, we thought that January is not the greatest month to be trying to have people travel with sketchy weather issues and whatnot. Otherwise, we'd be doing that tonight. So we're looking at maybe late March or April. We're still working that out.
It's a good idea. They're always a good attended event. Have you picked out a keynote speaker yet, or are you saving that for?
We're trying that too. We're trying to track that down too. That was another issue. Typically, mid-January, there's a lot of people that are out of the area that we would normally want to have as our speakers. So
Thank you.
multiple challenges, and try to keep people out of the ditches this year by doing it in the spring. The main thing that's going on in the office is the hazard mitigation work is in full swing now. There's a meeting tomorrow morning at 9 a.m. It's a first kickoff meeting with stakeholders. There's about 20 in planning to attend at this point. And then there's 2 more followed up the following week. So if you want to attend those, you're welcome to, not required. If you want to get a feel for what this is all about, though, that's probably a good opportunity. I believe that either Michelle Denhoff or Bonnie Van Housen sent out invites to all the legislators already. We also had sent out the request for proposals to potential consultants, and we've received those back. We're in the process of ironing out who's the right answer for the project. And I had asked in an email that we schedule a time next week before your meetings or during your meeting schedule to have a special Planning and Economic Development Committee to process the contract for that consultant. Otherwise, we'll be pushed off till middle of February, so that's a loss of 2 to 3 weeks to get started, and that's kind of challenging at this point because we're already behind. So if that's possible to schedule, I'm not sure what the process is for that right now, but I had sent that out, I believe, last week. So if, I don't know, does this group have to do that, or do you just magically make that happen?
I think you usually talk to the clerk of the board and the chairman of the committee about that.
Okay. So I had sent that out. If you can get that on the schedule, that'd be great. Otherwise, we'll be delayed 2 to 3 weeks. And we'll have the contract information to the county attorney by the end of this week, if not sooner, and have everything we have it available at that point. Further down, we did get the grant from I Love New York, and you've already approved that. So we're waiting for the paperwork to come back from the state at this point. So moving along with that. And then I just have 3 MOEs, so I don't know if you have any
Okay.
questions on my report. you'd like
Anybody
to
have any
ask.
questions on the report?
Gretchen,
Yes. Legislator Burke?
Kier, the county's looking at pictometry program,
Yeah.
and Southern Tier West is doing this GIS program. Could you explain the difference between the GIS and the pictometry, please?
So I heard your committee of the whole meeting this morning, so there was confusion on the state program too. So there's lots of technology out there. That's the short answer. They all serve different purposes, but they all intertwine. So the Southern Tier West has rolled out a community GIS program that allows either the county or the town or the village to sign up and get a map viewer and data collector program on their phone, and they can go out and collect data. Most useful immediately probably for your public works folks. They can take it out. There's prepackaged data collection forms on there. Say you want to collect all the information on your signs. You can open up the signs one, go in, take a picture of it, get your location, say it's a stop sign, it looks old, needs replacing, that type of thing. Same with culverts, all this type of thing. We can use this for lots of different uses. Soil and Water's already interested in it. Public Works is considering using it here. We're going to use it maybe for for the parks and outdoor inventory that we were talking about doing. And so lots of opportunities there. It's a relatively cheap date they worked out. The pictometry is an aerial photographic library of the county. So the biggest difference between the county's pictometry program and what the state offered is that the state only offers pictures straight down. It's the standard thing you see on Google Maps. When you pull up Google and you're looking, that's the state's imagery. So if we did the update that they talked about earlier today, and we pay for the extra quality, that will eventually show up on Google and the other programs because it's state imagery. So that'll be available to everybody. The pictometry imagery is a license that the county is buying for the library for the next 6 years. And it's available to all the towns, villages, the county departments, agencies, and we issue a password and login, and any of the fire departments, police that want access to it can utilize that. That imagery is not only straight down, but they also take pictures at a 45-degree angle as they fly along. So you see the sides of the buildings, you see the sides of the poles, the electric poles, the towers. You can do measurements on that imagery. So you can sit there and say you want to see how good a forest is. You can actually measure from the bottom of the tree to the top, and you'll know that the trees are 84 feet tall there, or whatever. You can take different measurements on the pictometry software. And the pictometry software is going to be integrated into the 911 dispatch. So when the call comes in, it should show up right on the screens, and they can push that out to the police or whoever they're sending it to if they have a laptop. And so they're two different things, but they're both useful. The resolution, this was the conversation I heard John ask, why do we care about the difference in this resolution? So in the villages, pictometry is going to be 3 inches per pixel, super detailed. Outside of the villages and hamlets, it'll be 9 inches per pixel. What the state is offering is 6 inches everywhere. So outside the villages, the state stuff is actually going to be a little clearer. So they both bring something to the table.
So you see value in having both
Yeah,
part of our toolkit for.
they're different things. If you can afford it, I would do both. If you can't afford it, then I would stick with what we've already got.
In Kier, we're also getting ready to issue an RFP for our own GIS study too. So I know you mentioned Southern Tier West is doing one.
Yep.
We're going to be looking at proposals for a countywide GIS study. That's something this committee asked us to do last fall sometime. So we're working on that.
So, and
Okay.
very briefly, the GIS needs assessment study is because right now we have different data, different equipment, different software in different offices.
Right.
We have so much stuff, but nobody's really looked at it in a very long time, like 20 years or more, to see what do we have and what could we be using GIS for. There's lots of different things that this county is not currently using GIS for, and this assessment will look at what we have and what we need, and then give you a cookbook to say, these are the options, this is how you should proceed forward, and hopefully we can
Right. I think
get into the
that
21st century.
that will be a good RFP to get out there. I know that it's been in discussions. I've heard it for quite a few years,
Right.
at different development meetings. Any other questions for Keir on his report?
Madam Chairman?
Yes, Legislator Havey?
Hi, Kier. Hey, we're just starting out, this is a tourism question.
Oh,
We're just starting out with a very exciting, brand-new tourism year, and I know it starts out with a couple of shows in Erie and in Hamburg, the Erie Sports Show and the Western New York Sports Show in Hamburg.
Yep.
I was just wondering if we're planning on attending those this year.
Somebody in the region definitely will be. This weekend, we have staff from our county attending the Pittsburgh show. So last weekend, not our county, but in the region, staff went out and represented in Cleveland. So we try to share the duties around so that no one gets too burdened.
Okay, that's
And
good, that's
anyone-
good reach.
And we are signed up for Hamburg. We're signed up for the Erie PA show. I believe there's another one that they signed up for.
The Hamburg show is a really good one
I
for
was
us.
just going to say that.
Yeah, it is a good one.
And they plan to do the Erie County Fair again in the summer. So
Great.
Thank you.
Any other questions for Keir on his report? Okay, we'll move to the MOEs here. The first one here is for a position of Deputy Director of Planning.
yes, so this about 5 years ago, when we were betwixt and between, the county legislature created a position of Assistant Director of Economic Development and Planning. Well, since then, in the past fall, you created a new department for economic development. So it's time to fix the title. And also in the discussions, we determined that the deputy position is the proper title. Assistant director, it doesn't have all the duties it should have had. So looking to basically replace the title that's currently in vogue and with a new one, deputy.
Can I have a motion?
Avi will move that.
Avy moves, second.
Curran, second.
Kern, second. Any discussion? Okay, Carissa?
I just want to point out that the form has a number of blanks on it. Mr. Derlin was filling out the form while Mr. Budinger was getting ready to leave last week. We do have a completed form. They've been handed in today. So this position is in our salary plan, and it is a grade level 3, and the hiring band base is $63,800. So I'm assuming that was Legislator Burdick's question, or at least one of them.
And Keir showed that to me ahead of time, and I
That's okay.
knew that that had been done, so we'll get a copy of that out to everybody just to add to the
And-
records, but,
The way you hire now, any position under the salary plan has to start at base, and then if there's some logical argument to start at a higher step based on years of experience, the department head comes to the county administrator, I talk to HR, and we can authorize a higher step if needed, but we assume that base is where everybody starts in the salary plan.
very good. Okay, we have a first, a second. Any more discussion? Ms. Legislator Healy?
Yes, so this has been signed on, off on by all the required people, the county administrator, the personnel officer, and the department head, correct?
Yes, we've all signed off on it, yep.
Thank you.
The answer is yes.
Okay.
For the
Keir?
record. No, it didn't. That's part of what got
Question.
hung up in the transition.
Okay, Legislator Ricketts Miles?
Just a quick question, is this I'm just trying to understand the Assistant Director of Economic Development. Do you have a person in that position?
Yes,
So
that's
is this like
Michelle Denhoff.
Is that a
the
lateral
assistant
slide
director.
then, or?
Basically, yes.
Okay, thank you.
This position, Assistant Director of Economic Development and Planning, was originally a few years ago a request for a deputy to serve Mr. Durham in planning and Dr. Clark under his contract. But obviously you don't have a deputy serve a contract, so we had it as an assistant director. This is just correcting to the title. It really should be under a department head.
That's correct. Any more questions? Okay, all in favor? Aye. Opposed? Motion carried. Okay, the second MOE is to fill a position of office aide in planning, and do you want to, I think.
So the
this-
office aide, this particular office aide is the spot that is used typically for an intern position. In the past, we've had architectural interns and planning interns come in and spend approximately 12 weeks with us and work on some projects for us at a reduced rate from what we'd pay for outside consulting or whatever. So this would just be my intern position essentially.
And again, this one's all been signed off on, and I'll just note the rate that was used on the form was the 2022 rate. The correct rate for 2023 is between $15 to $17 an hour, which is the same rate for all office aides, no matter what department they're in.
And this is a full-time position now
It's
throughout. so-
full-time, but it's temporary. So after they burn through the set amount that's in the budget, then we're done with that.
Okay, thank you.
So they work, they would come to work on a regular basis, full-time, and then when we expend the monies that are allocated in the budget, then that would be the end of the position.
Okay. Can I have a motion, please?
Rick, you move.
A second?
Ricketts Wales.
Okay, any more discussion or questions? Okay, all in favor? Aye. Opposed? It's moved. Okay, the last one you have here is, oops, turned the wrong page.
This is related to the hazard mitigation
Okay,
grant.
yes, there it is, okay.
And perhaps the county attorney could explain why we're doing this better than I can.
So we already accepted and appropriated the funding for the Hazard Mitigation Grant Program, DR-4567, under resolution number 823, but we accidentally forgot to to designate the chairman of the board and the county administrator as to authorize them to sign the grant agreement. So we are bringing this resolution to actually have the board approve and authorize their signature.
Thank you very much for the explanation. Does somebody want to move it? I ask.
I'll move it. Havy will move it.
Ricky, second.
Any more questions or any questions on this? Okay. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Carried.
Thank you all.
Okay. Next, we have, oops, where's my agenda? Tim Boyd is not here today, so we will move along on that. I'm sure he sent his report. I don't have it with me. Okay. Next, we'll call Dr. Clark.
Hello, I'm not sure you have my report. Kier said he didn't have it, so I don't know if I got it
Yeah,
included or
I
not.
don't
but
see it either.
It was sent, and I can go over the highlights anyways.
Okay, thank you.
A Crossroads project, primarily the hotel, right at this stage. We continue to work on the infrastructure. RG&E and National Fuel have the loads that have been developed by our engineer architects. And by the next meeting, we should be able to verify if there's anything needed for the electric out there. I do not think so, but if there is, we'll need to know. Because we have looked at that 2-3 times, but we want to verify. And I know the National Fuel is not an issue because we had that all set to actually be hooked up before. But they are looking at the loads again. We have worked with the surveyors from the county, and they've given us a package, which our surveyors have also turned that into a right-of-way document, and we'll be processing that and approving that at our board, and then we'll get it approved through the county, obviously, for the right-of-way for the
Is that
for the road
the
itself.
County Road 51?
No, it's a new road we're putting in.
Okay.
I think that is the number
Okay.
that would be assigned to
County
it.
Road 51.
I didn't know there was a number to it.
They always take the next number after what so we have 50
So
county
it is
roads, this
County
would be 51.
Thank you.
Okay, I just have a quick question for it. I know I've looked at the maps and that.
Sure.
Where is it coming out of, that road?
That where it comes back out, I don't
Yes.
know, I mean, it's back down, it's on the map, but I can send you the map. I don't know how many feet it is.
Okay, I just wondered if it was coming out on which road, how far down?
It
Route
comes by
20?
on 20.
20, and how far down 20?
That's
is
what I
it?
said, I don't know, I don't
Oh,
have the
we don't
map with
know.
me, but I can send it back out.
Oh, the end of our piece? Okay. All right, that's what I thought. You know, there's
Okay.
there's confusion on that, and I just wanted to make sure it was clear with me.
Okay.
Thank you.
Sure. I don't have to confirm anything. Rita's already said Runnings is working and moving forward, and I'm excited about that, as everyone is, to hopefully be shopping there in the near future. And they keep saying to me, as well as with Rita, that this has been the most welcoming community that's ever had them in upstate New York. So we should be pretty proud of that, as well as the fact of very highly qualified candidates. So that was really good. Questions on those two things?
No.
Okay, and the next one is, everyone saw the public announcement of Kinley Advanced Technology Services. I couldn't tell everybody who the name was until they announced it, but it's been announced. We have been talking to them from the beginning. We've turned them on to Empire State Development. They're looking to get some tax credits there for the Empire Excelsior program. And we're also looking at other ways we can help them. I will be meeting with them. And I talked to their operations manager, who's actually up here this week out of Houston. And I said we'd like to do a formal welcoming sometime in the next 30 days, which would be obviously with anybody that wants to be there. But he wanted to kind of wait until the facilities at some stage is presentable. because they're moving things in as we speak, so they didn't feel comfortable at this stage, so.
Right.
It'll be shortly, and I said, obviously, some of the legislators would like to be there, and everyone else to welcome them into the community.
Can you remind everybody how many employees they're going to have? People
I
who are
could
listening?
if I knew. It's interesting talking to them. We already have 20 or 30 people working out in the
good.
field. They do not, I know they're making out in the forms what their long-term projections are, but I do not know. But I would guess, I don't really want to guess but I know it's going to be fairly healthy.
Okay.
They're talking about up to half of that facility, so it'll be a healthy number of people.
Oh, great. That was another question. That's a good portion of it.
And right now, it's about a quarter, I think.
Okay. Thank you.
I do have someone that's outreached. I just talked to Great Lake Cheese yesterday. There are people that are actually saying, what are you going to do with that facility in Cuba? And there are people looking for that potential use of that facility in the future, but they haven't made a decision yet. So we'll at least connect people. That's all we can do at this stage. All the clean energy projects, like I mentioned before, most of them are up and running. The ones that aren't Independence, they have given us a report. They are starting work there. It's a small project at this stage, but it should be, once the weather breaks, I'm sure they'll have their 50 or 60 on site people putting that system in. Have not heard anything else regarding the Town of Alfred project, unless you have, Jan.
Yeah, they actually were at our town board meeting last week, Ann Walling, and
Okay.
she is initiating a program with Alfred University for student interns to actually work on the solar project, and they also have delayed it to 2025.
Have they delayed it? Okay, that's probably why they haven't reached out again to the IDA. That's one thing I know our lawyer said, they're usually kind of slow, but the good company just take a little time. You found that out too. On the micro enterprise grant, I think we're at the final stages. We've got, I think the last paperwork is about finished. You've been watching the emails too, Carissa. So I think we'll be able to announce the micro enterprise grant fairly soon. No sense in announcing until we actually have the money. I do have some people in the community have been emailing me, so I've got a list of companies and people that want to participate. And the larger one, the CBDG CARES grant, finally have all of the stuff going out today as far as announcements is being posted. It's already posted on our website, and the actual application will be posted, and I'll send that to the board too, so they have that. We're anticipating having a first deadline of February 17th, and depending on how many applications, we'll be going to a second round, but that'll be the first round anyways. So.
Any other questions on the report? No? I have one more question,
Sure.
And that is with the Angel Fund.
Right.
And I remember years ago, quite a few years ago, it started, or we got it
It's-
up and running. I
it's
wondered
still
how it was
running.
doing.
We've had one project, we've been fits and starts trying to get it started, and have
Yeah.
actually got another call out to them. It was a fairly large controlled agriculture project, where hopefully that's still going to go forward. The goal now is to get some other projects in front of the board. So if you have projects, let me know. We can get them in front of the board for investment.
But you have enough investment to do
Yes.
the work you need.
Yes.
Great. All right. Any other questions? Okay, thank you.
Okay, no problem. Thank you.
Okay. I guess we're, Brenda, you have some,
Appointments?
Brenda, you're on up next.
All right.
For the clerk of the board, appointments to Allegheny County Planning Board, and I'll let you proceed with
All
that.
right. Chairman Harris plans to reappoint John Gorton and Jason Eisman and Valerie Perkins as members of the Planning Board for a 3-year term. And we need a motion on that.
Do I have a motion?
Curran moves.
Kern, second, please.
Ricketts Wales?
Any other questions? All in favor? Aye. Opposed? So moved.
The chairman of the board also plans to make the annual ex officio appointments to the planning board. Thomas Windus, Public Works Superintendent, Terry Ross, County Treasurer, and Philip Stockin, Ways and Means Committee Chairman.
Do I have a motion to approve?
Havy will move that.
Havy approves?
Ricky a second.
Ricky's second. Any questions? All in favor?
Aye.
It's passed, so moved.
The chairman of the board plans to reappoint Philip Curran, Dwight Fanton, Brent Reynolds as members of the Allegheny County Telecommunications Development Corporation for another 2-year term effective immediately and expiring September 30th, 2024.
Can I have a motion to move?
Ricketts Swales will move that.
Any questions? Okay, all in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion's carried.
Chairman Harris plans to appoint Gary Barnes of Wellsville to fill the remainder of a 3-year term on the Chautauqua, Cattaraugus, Allegheny, and Steuben Southern Tier Extension Railroad Authority, commencing January 11th, 2023, and expiring August 27th, 2023.
Do I have a motion to move this?
Curran?
Karen moves, second.
Hayfield, second.
Davy seconds. Any questions? Discussion? All in favor? Aye. Opposed?
Chairman Harris plans
So
to
moved.
reappoint Jerry Scott of Cuba to fill a 3-year term on the Chautauqua, Cattaraugus, Allegheny, and Steuben Southern Tier Extension Railroad Authority, commencing immediately and expiring August 27th, 2025.
Do I have a motion to move?
Rick, you move.
Ricky moves, second.
Ricketts Swales will second.
Ricketts Swells, seconds. Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion's carried. Okay,
That concludes the appointments.
thank you. Next, we have old business. Is there any old business? Anybody? New business? Good of the order? So I'll call for adjournment.
Rick, you move. Curran, second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Thank you.